Yeah, so here's the problem. When you do a project, you see all of that back there, and then you see all of this over here. That's like half of the things that I got out in order to do a project. It's riveting stuff, guys. All right. You want to do projects, just get out every one of your tools. Even if you don't think you're painting, get out your painting supplies because you're painting. Guys and gals, we're on to another project that I've been putting off forever. As you can see, you're sitting on top of the car hauler trailer. And you know, pretty much the whole deck is covered with crap. Well, all this crap came out of this box. And I want to take that box off. Why? Well, partially because this thing is so dented up on the top and the latches are so janky that it's a pain in the ass to open it up. But also, since I got the sliding camper for the back of the truck, when you turn, the box hits the camper. Now, how often am I going to be hauling this with the camper? I don't know. But I need to go through and inventory some of this stuff. After years and years and years of having this trailer, I've collected way too many things. I've got 6 total binders. I don't know why. There's various bungee cords that have never been used. There's some that are completely hosed and damaged. Look at how many ratchet straps I have. Axle wrap straps. There used to be 4 of those. Now there's only 3. I don't know where the other one of those went. There's a bunch of pull straps. Come along's nice to have. I got 2 funnels. What are that? What? I don't. There's so many things. It's just. It's too much, guys. Remember the winch situation? Well, here's the battery and the solenoid and everything for that, which takes up quite a bit of space. Yep. This 4 boxes destroyed. All right, so here's everything underneath it. We used to park the razors on here 2 in a row, and then this would be so you could go over the tire, strap it down. That can come off. These can come off. This is the front part that's supposed to be on the trailer. We'll pitch up higher so you can see better. So this is part of the factory trailer. Is this piece. So this has got to come off. That whole thing's got to come off. All right, guys, I did stuff. I got both of those cut off. And I got, for the majority of it, I got it sanded down, but Mom just called me. She's done doing what she was doing with Grandma, so I got to go pick her up. So I'm going to go run inside and take a shower. But it looks more like it used to. So now you can see the winch was under here. If I remember right, this is like a 2,500 pounder or something. Well, Ethan gave me a 5,000 pound and it has a steel cable on it. Not crazy about the steel cable, but I keep breaking this synthetic one. So I think I'm going to swap that winch over too while I'm at it. But that's probably going to mean this box needs to come off of there. Plus we got to see how do we fit all the rest of this crap in a way smaller box. Maybe we look at doing multiple boxes. I don't know. Hey, look, here's a cat. Look at this matting on this freaking cat. Good Lord. Anyways, I'm gonna go inside and shower. We'll get back at this later. Fellers and fellettes, we gotta figure out a, where's my freaking pen at, first of all? I don't know how I always lose these, but that's a good thing I got 10 more of them in there. Anyways, we got to figure out a mount for this new winch. Here's what I'm thinking. All right, hear me out. You see right here? See what I got going on here? This is extra material from Jeepers Creepers. So what I was thinking is this is wide, like that, like so. But I was almost kind of thinking that I'd put it something like this because I want the bolt pattern for the winch. I want you to be able to drill through this material without this taper of this outer part being in the way, so that you can bolt through this for the winch and then for the fair lead Dugem Whopper. But then how do I attach this to the trailer? Well, I'll probably weld it on there, right? You got to make sure that you can actually access all these bolts. So if I did it something like this and I only cut it however wide, you can access the bolts from either side, right? But I still got to attach it to the trailer. So let's take some measurements. If we did this, this is 8-inch channel. And then it's going to go right here in the center. Why, you ask? Well, if you ask that, maybe you should switch channels. But anyways, so that you can, you know, pull all your garbage like I do onto the trailer, because that's why you own a trailer, is because you got a fleet of garbage that's not reliable, whatnot, and so on. So if we were to do 8 inches, how much of that could actually be under this? It's 2 1/4 inches tall. We got 3 inches there. So we could actually slide, if we wanted the winch to be centered on there, but the fair lead to hang off the front, which we don't care. That could totally work just fine, I suppose. I mean, we could technically slide this thing back 2 inches, which just so happens to be the dimension of this square, which means our 8-inch starts to look like, if we slide this back 2 inches, that's how much we would be encroaching on the trailer, if that makes sense. So it would basically be 8 inches from here. So the very front of the fair lead would be there, which I don't think is too bad, because anything you pull on the trailer that far forward is going to be something you have a point at, like the rear axle. If you needed to pull it, say, to here, but you needed it to be further back, but you're anchored at the front of the truck, you know, with the winch line. Are you following me? Then you would, you know, block it on the trailer somehow so that it can't roll backwards, or have somebody in there holding the brakes, and then you'd repick it from the rear axle and continue to drag it this way. Anyways, I'm talking too much. I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece like that. Then we're going to figure out how to anchor it onto this, which I still think the best thing to do. God, I want it to be removable. I don't know. We need to cut a piece of that first, because we know that we're going to do that, and then we'll figure out how to anchor it. Because I'm also kind of thinking that maybe one of these days I'm going to remove all the wood from this deck, because this is the 3rd time I've redecked it, and this wood sucks. There's already pieces of this wood that are dry rotting and falling apart, especially on the dovetail part of it. I'm kind of wondering if I just take all the wood off of this and just do a diamond plate deck. Yeah, I know, money, time, don't have either one of them. Anyways, let's get to work on cutting and doing all this. You don't need to see all this. Here is the idea for the winch mount. So I have these kind of clamped roughly in place, but this would come back. We don't want to come back past this because the box is going to butt up against it. So I think this will come back within like 1/4 or 3/8 of an inch. So I have plenty of place to weld it right there. But I was also thinking, if I really want to weld it good, I might actually take the winch off of this so I could slide it back, so I could slide the whole assembly forward. But right now I just want it all assembled so I can kind of mock it up. so I can make lines where I need to grind down the paint and rust so I can get a good weld. And then I need to take this apart, square that all up so that I could weld it. Probably what I'll do is I'll just square it up here, put a good couple tacks on it, pull it all the way out of there, weld this to these, and then slide it all in there, weld that up. So that's what we're doing right now. Sound good? Yeah, I think it sounds good. Got back from the car show. I got so excited, I got started. I never even got the camera out. All right, here's where we're at. This is welded in there. I got to clean it up a little bit, but I welded it here, there, all there, there. It's all welded up. And I cut the bolts for the winch shorter. So I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. I put some paint on there. I might clean these up and maybe just the whole front of the trailer, shoot that with paint. I don't know, we'll see. But I think I'm finished welding right now. Maybe I'll just double check, which is good because the bottle's just about out of gas. I got it sanded down and I found a little bit extra of the 415. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit everything with that and then figure out what I'm gonna do to paint it. So we'll get you set up over here, probably just on the time lapse, so that you can see what's going on. I got carried away. We ended up painting the whole freaking trailer. Good. So we got the first coat of the 415 over all of it. The only thing that got 2 coats is the tongue, but it'll probably end up getting a 3rd coat. But we went through the whole thing. Now we gotta wait for a couple hours, do the 2nd coat, and then I bought some rattle can to do the top coat. That's 2 whole cans of paint on there. 2nd and final coat because I am done and I'm ready to go inside. So let's start a time lapse. There we go. It's all the way painted. We ran out of paint. Now we gotta wait for that to dry, and then I'll put the winch on there. The box shows up tomorrow, so I'll continue cranking on this hopefully this week. Guys, the frickin' box showed up. Look at this thing. Let's see if it'll fit in there. Oh, biscuits. The problem that I see, which I'll show you in a minute, once I get it centered in there, which I should have thought about better, but you know, it is what it is look here, see how there's a handle, and then there's also a jack. Will it operate? It actually operates though. So that's kind of annoying, but even lifting it up all the way, it stops before it hits that. Huh. That was pure dumb luck because I'm dumb. But look at that! That box fits really nice. Let's take a walk around it. All right, here's this side. Okay, here's the front. Handle situation, I already showed you that. Here's this side, and there you go. That's our walk around it. Oh yeah. And for size comparison, this is the other box that I originally bought to put on there. You know, online ordering without measuring, just guessing. There's a size comparison of it to there. That's why I bought that one. Because this one is just too small. Alright, here's the situation, fellers. We're trying to place the battery in here. And we've got this old battery strap that came from the old toolbox, which is great because it'll work wherever. But I'm trying to figure out exactly where. Let me just set it in here. I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want to put the battery so I take up the least amount of space in here. Also, we know that the winch power is going to be right here because the winch is right on that side. So we're trying to take that into consideration on battery placement. And we have this solenoid, so we'll just set this here. Ooh, that actually changes how that... But we could always modify this bracket, but that changes how that bracket would go. So maybe the winch solenoid. Put that over here. Like we can actually mount it up kind of high. Because remember, this box has this little step right here, this little step piece. But we can mount this up high. Don't know exactly. If we mount it too high, these are really close. It also doesn't have to be mounted like this. It could be mounted like this, I suppose. However, it doesn't really matter. But we're trying to take up at least amount of space. So maybe if I do this over here, and then we could slide the battery over, then that'll take up just this corner. Bam! That's mounted. And this will just go up here. So then the next thing I need to look at is this here feller. Look at that. Look at freaking, how great is that? Yeah, that's toy like a toiga. And then when you close the lid, this can't bounce out of there. Huh. That's nifty. You may be asking yourself, Zach, you got a nice painted box. You just painted the whole trailer. What color are you going to paint that bracket? The answer is I'm not going to. For two reasons. First and foremost, I'm extremely lazy. And then also to annoy some people. I guarantee that's going to piss somebody off because I didn't paint that. So that's why I'm not going to do it. The other thing I just realized, I need to ground the battery to the trailer so that I have a good ground. I need to take that bolt right back out so I can put this on there. Frickin' bonehead. That is it for today. I'm going inside. So we got the box mounted. We got holes drilled for the winch cables. We are going to need to shorten these because look at how long these mamma jammas are. So I'll have to cut the ends of that off and then re-crimp the ends out here. But I do have a crimper, so I'm not super nervous about that. But before we do that, we got to mount the winch. But before we do that, we got to go inside. We'll be back out here. You know, it's going to take me a while, but for you, it'll be like, right meow. You know, because YouTube is a bunch of Nazis and you can't play music and whatnot. Anyways, I had to turn the Michael Jackson off. Judge me if you want. I got the cables pulled through. I got the winch mounted. All right, let me show you something really quick. This is a battery cable eyelet. And this, it's a very Neanderthal version, but you put your cable in there, and you put this in here, and you whack-a-mole the top of it to smash it down. That crimps it in place. So this is one version to do that. Or you could buy this kind of like plier version. So it's just a hydraulic thing. This kit comes with a whole bunch of different dies for different sizes. So I decided to use this. This is what that crimp looks like. after you're done. So it kind of looks a little bit goofy because it just smashes it together. But what I did before I crimped it is I put some dielectric grease on the end of the cable because I want to try and keep it from getting corroded. And then I crammed it in there, and then I smooshed it on there. And now what I want to do is I want to put this boot, even though it's pretty dry, but it's better than nothing. I want to put this on here. Well, that's never going to happen with it all dry. So you got to lube it up. You know, like other things in life that you got to lube up before you cram them in. So we're going to lube that up. And then slide that sucker on there. And if you can, you could pull the boot over. If you can't, then I got schneedle schnoz. And I just reach in there, I grab the eyelet, and I pull the boot around it. Wipe off my excess dielectric grease, and then Bob's your uncle. The other thing that I do is wherever I'm going to terminate, especially if it's somewhere that's either going to be in direct sunlight or in the weather, which this is for both, I already lubed the crap out of that with dielectric grease. So we'll put our hardware on there. The way that I was going to run this cable is through here, through here, and then it will loop underneath the winch like this. See? Okay, so remember I have this button right here, just the manual. It's the wired button, so I don't have to worry about a remote batteries going dead or whatever. And I have this way because I figured if you're winching in, so that cable should go in. Holy biscuits! You see that spark? That's because this battery cable is just sitting on the battery. But in and out. All right, and then we need to see if our remote works. And if I remember right on this, you have to hold the in and out for a second. That red light comes on and it links it up, and then you can go in, out. Sweet. All right, the winch works. Let's disconnect the battery before we light something on fire. Yeah, so here's the problem. When you do a project, you see all of that back there, and then you see all of this over here. That's like half of the things that I got out in order to do a project. It's riveting stuff, guys. All right. You want to do projects, just get out every one of your tools. Even if you don't think you're painting, get out your painting supplies because you're painting. You know, check out some of the other videos. I got some weird stuff going on. I got merch. I'm not wearing any of it because I was getting filthy, so I didn't want to ruin it. But I got hats, I got shirts, I got another shirt coming out for Dolores, the International of Nates that I helped him build. Well, I didn't really help him build it. I helped him get it running. He built it. Those are going to be coming out soon. So if you want merch, let me know.
You're live.
Okay, we're live. Guys and gals. Do you have a comb over? Like me? And you don't want anybody to see it? Well, I have something. I got hats, guys. I got this one. It's green. And it has the little logo thing at the... Okay, next one. I got this black on black one. Look at that. Okay, next one. Jesus, golly. What is this one? Blurple. I like it. It reminds me of grape soda. Caught it. Baby blue. Look at that one. Woo. And monster green. Anyways, oh, I got shirts too. Look at these things. So if you want a hat or you want a shirt because your comb over just ain't doing it, let me know. I also have stickers. This one is from Miranda, which she made the hats and the shirts. And these ones are from, I don't know, some other website. But we don't care about them. We care about these from Miranda. And these shirts and the hat. I don't know where the hats are. But anyways, Five Hearts Company. They're local in, where are they?
Strasburg.
In Strasburg, Colorado. So if you want anything, let me know, and I'll give you a price, and then we'll see if you still want it. And then I'll send it to you if you pay me for it.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye.
Skylar loves you too.
This thing got some stickers on it. I couldn't end the video without showing the stickers that it got on it. Look at it. It's got the ZF logo on that fender. It got all the reflector stickers that you ever thought you needed. Not just on the back, but along the whole frickin' side. The dads went bananas here. All the way around. And then I had 2 more of the logo stickers. So I did the ZF logo on the tongue. We're still waiting for the solar panel. Oh, also we put a little cover over the winch to try and protect that. Oh, and I ordered the frickin' synthetic winch line because this synthetic winch line wants to shred your fingers open. So I ordered that. So we'll wait for those to show up, and I'll edit those into this video so that you just get one video of start to finish on this whole shenanigans. Sometimes you need a bolt that looks like this, but you only have a bolt that looks like this. And then you go and find something else that looks like this so that you can make a bolt that looks like this. That's my poem for today. Thanks for checking in. You know, I can come up with poems apparently. Here is the situation. This is the panel with the bolts that I just made. And this is the idea that it'll sit here in these bolt holes. Like so. The problem is look at, I just so happened to be by Tractor Supply the other day and I bought some 3/4 inch angle iron. So I cut that down into 2 pieces and I'll show you how I'm gonna make those work. So on this side, these are the original holes, but it's too wide because it was hitting the subframe structure in there. So I drilled new ones. So I got 2 pieces that are gonna go bridge between there, bolt this straight to the angle iron. So there'll be angle there, angle there. They're out there drying in the sun. So I'm trying to get this done while Dad and Ethan are over here working on this, which will be another video. But we need the trailer so we can move that they're working on once they're done working on that. Always something to do. You got to get one project done in order to get 9 other projects started. Holy shnikes. We're not quite done because we don't have a synthetic rope yet, but look at that. And yes, I didn't put it in the center because if you're lazy like I am and you want to stand on the box in order to get on the back of the truck, you can do that without stepping on the solar panel. There we go. This thing is as done as it's going to get other than the cable. But I'm not going to wait to edit this video until this stupid cable shows up. So there we go. That's the end of this video. Like, share, and subscribe.